Hi and welcome. Today I want to share with you 5 brutal technique playing errors that many guitarists make. You won't find many people will talk about these issues, but if you struggle with these, they're going to make your playing so much harder than they need to be. Pay close attention, watch all 5 because each one works hand in hand with the others. Okay, so it's very, very important. I teach my students this all the time. And you're going to enjoy these tips as well because they're going to make you a better guitarist like they have done for me and they have done for many, many of my students. Right, the first tip then is called minimum pressure required. Now, when most people fret a note, any note on the guitar, they press with far too much pressure. Okay, if you press too hard, all you're going to do is tire your fingers out. You're going to leave yourself with sore, crusty, nasty, calloused fingers. Now, calluses are overrated. So, what you should do is press with the minimum amount of pressure, hence the name minimum pressure required. So what you want to do, get close to the fret, take all the pressure off so the note sounds dead. Then add just a little bit of pressure. Then take the pressure off again and add a little bit more. And what you're going to do is keep adding pressure and reducing pressure until you find the sweet spot, and that sweet spot is where you found the perfect amount of pressure you need to play the note, but you're not pressing too hard. It's so useful, so simple, and like I said, it's really, rarely talked about. Okay, so get close to that fret, add the pressure, reduce the pressure, add the pressure, and you should find, if you've been pressing too hard, that you're now pressing far softer, but the note still sounds clear, and you're not doing this brutal painstaking amount of pressure to make a note clear when you don't need to. You could try it with one note, a fret 5 on the high E string, try it with all 4 fingers, and take your time, just keep adding and reducing the pressure until the note is clear. Okay, you've got to get close to the fret for this to work, because if you're far back from the fret, see that little gap there between my finger and the fret, I'm going to get a buzz note. So get close to the fret, and there you go. First little tip, and it could be a game changer for you. Try it with chords as well. Try it with a simple chord such as A minor to start with. Okay? And add and reduce the pressure. But start off with one note at a time, then chords, and build up to that. You could try it with everything. You could try it with scales, you could try it with bar chords and everything. Okay, that's the first tip. The second tip then is all about the way I'm sitting. Now, I sit like this specifically. Now, I've heard a famous guitar teacher on YouTube say this position doesn't look cool, so don't bother with it. And that is just crazy. This is the classical position. I love this position, and it's something I teach all students. Whenever a student comes to me to learn, okay, I always get them to sit in this position. If they're brand new to guitar, they'll take to it like a duck to water. If you've played for a while and you've sat like this, it can be a little bit hard to transition to the classical position. But it's so useful. Now, let's talk about a few of the little differences between this position and this position. Now, with this position, look, right, if I want to play higher up the fretboard, my body's going to get in the way. And, if you've ever seen any of my old YouTube videos when I had a big chubby face and I was quite fat, then I had a big belly that got in the way as well. So I couldn't really reach for these higher notes, okay? And even now, I've lost a little bit of weight, but even now, over the last 10 years, I should say, even now I can't really reach for those notes higher up, so my belly gets in the way. It's not very nice, okay? But when I play chords like this as well, I'm really restricted and my wrist tends to get bent back a little bit, okay? Whereas if I play in the classical position, look, I've got access to all these higher notes. I can play loads of, cool things effortlessly. If I play that up here, a bit awkward, not easy. Now with chords, playing the classical position, my wrist is nice and straight, okay? I'm not bent my wrist like this to try and play the chord, it's nice and straight. Not perfectly straight, but it's a lot straighter and there's no strain on the wrist, which is so much better. Whereas if I'm playing like this, I'm having to bend my wrist a little bit, okay? I haven't got the longest fingers, so I have to bend my wrist and it's just not comfortable. Playing the classical position, you avoid these little issues, which become major issues as you play for longer. Okay, the third tip I'm going to talk about is this one. It's called head jerking. Now, you might know this one already, But a lot of people struggle with this. They tend to do this sort of thing. So if you want to play, say, a G to C chord, a lot of people do this. What am I doing there? Okay, as I'm changing chords, I'm looking back and forth with both hands. The great guitarist Doc Watson once said a quote that was something along the lines of this. It was, I think he said, I can only imagine how playing guitar for sighted people must be so difficult. Something along those lines, anyway. And Doc Watson was blind, okay? And he was an incredibly talented guitarist. Very skillful, I should say, because he developed the skill. No one's born with talent. You know, he's developed that skill over time. Okay, so what you want to try and do is look at one hand at a time. You know, look at your fretting hand to start with, then look at your picking hand. And then close your eyes. It does take time to be able to do that, of course, that's why it's okay to look at one hand. But what you want to try and avoid is this. I always imagine it, you know, it's like watching people at Wimbledon, you know, when they're watching the tennis and the head's going back and forth, they're watching a great rally, Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal, bam, bam, bam. It's just like, it's just not nice. It's actually quite nauseating. Okay, tip number 4 then. Okay, it's the elbow-shoulder axis. Now, what a lot of people do when they play, they tense up their shoulders like this, and that locks the elbows into position, okay? And that's really restrictive. So if you try and play and you've got like tense shoulders and your elbow is rigid, then you're going to struggle. What you're going to try and do is relax your shoulders. Wiggle your shoulders like this and let them go heavy, okay? Don't tense them up even a little bit. Just let them go as heavy and relaxed as you can. You know, shake off the tension with the shoulders. Do what it takes. I might look like, you know, if you've got like sound on right now, then I look like a weirdo doing this. You know, doing some sort of jiggy dance. But relax those shoulders, okay? And that will allow you to relax your elbow. And then if you can maneuver your elbow, you can maneuver your hand and your fingers into a better position. And that's very freeing, particularly when you combine that with a classical position. Okay, because if your elbow's rigid, your hand is going to be a lot more rigid and you're going to be stuck. Your chords are going to buzz, potentially anyway. Whereas if you can relax that shoulder, you can relax the elbow, and then look, I can maneuver my hand because I'm moving my elbow so I can get on the tips. Elbow locked, which is what you shouldn't do. Buzzing chords, dead notes. Relax the shoulder, relax the elbow, and then I can maneuver the elbow, get on the tips of the fingers. And it's like dynamite, it's just an immediate impact, which is what we like. You know, things that don't take a huge amount of adjustment but can make a big difference. So that's one of them as well. Okay, the final one I'm going to talk about is the pinky first rule. Okay, so if you're playing, say, a scale, just play fret 5, 7 and 8 on the high E string. Simple fragment of a scale. Okay. Well, if you can't reach that fret 8, and it's like that, well, what do you do? Well, try putting the pinky on first. You might find magically you can stretch for that note now. You can play it, reach for it, and play the other notes as well. Because what a lot of people do, they'll put their index on first, and then that puts the pinky out here, and it's miles away from fret 8, and they struggle to reach for it. And then the finger goes flat and the note's dead. Put the pinky on first, your hand is in a better position, it's facing more of the ceiling, and you basically get those extra notes. And if you put the pinky on first, you might find you could reach further, like say fret 10. You put the index on first, reaching fret 10, it's just not possible unless I take a tablet right now which magically grows my pinky finger an extra 3 inches. Not going to happen. No such tablets, as we know. Okay. No matter what people will tell you or try and sell you on the internet, they don't exist. Okay. Or should I get a finger extender like Tony Iommi? You know, like how Tony Iommi from Black Sabbath had his fingertips cut off and he had those little pads put on. Maybe we need like a giant one of those or something. Anyway, I'm waffling. Okay, so basically get that pinky on first. That's a powerful little tip. Okay, so there you go. That's a whole bunch of little technical tips that most people don't tend to teach. Okay, if you've been around my lessons for a while, particularly in my private academy, the Dan Thorpe Acoustic Academy, you'll know about all these sort of things. But if you're new to my lessons or you're new to be on YouTube, then these might be brand new things. If so, I hope that helped. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. It means the world to me to read your comments. I love that sort of stuff, okay? Because it really is really good getting that interaction. And it's nice to have a bit of a community, even if it's just in the comments section on a YouTube video, okay? Because everybody can help each other. And that's one of the good things about playing guitar and learning. It's like we can share lots of tips and help each other. Okay, so I hope that helped. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Dan Thorpe. If you do like this, you can go to fingerstyle101.com/free, where you can get 2 ebooks from me. One is about playing songs, that's called the Super MIDI Songbook, and the other one is about fixing your technical issues, that's called the Guitar Doctor. That's going to teach you 35 powerful tips. Some of them you've learned today. Okay, so if you want more like that, go and get that book. It's free, it's exclusive, it's not available anywhere else either. Okay, and it doesn't cost you a thing. Okay, so thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. Cheers, bye bye.